So, communication. It's one of the things that make human beings unique. Through the power of association, we've learned how to assign noises to approximations of reality. Originally, this was good. We could say things like water or rock, and somewhere along the way, we got into conceptual things, like, for example, the word understand or the question of why, which is kind of mind blowing if you think about it. With water, I can make the same noise over and over again while splashing water at you, and eventually you can understand, that noise probably equals that liquid. And boom, we both know what water is. But if you take something more abstract, like the word understand or the question of why, it's a bit more complex than that. Because there is no thing that I can show you in this world to make you understand what the word understand means, or to make you understand what I mean when I ask why. And yet, somehow, we all are able to understand these things and comprehend them and understand the question of why. So why bring this up? Because of the fact that words are just an approximation of reality. They describe things as they are and are used to do things like coordinate, plan, relate, all sorts of neat things. But in recent times, we've kind of lost the distinction of words as a measurement of reality, and we take them to be the fact of reality rather than just an approximation of it, when the truth is they're not. Just because we cannot articulate a point well does not make our point any less valid, just less visible to people who are receiving our point via communication. For example, if someone is objectively correct, however, they do not possess the ability to explain what they mean, you might walk away thinking, oh wow, they're an idiot. They couldn't explain anything worth anything. But at the end of the day, in their mind, their point was factually correct. And so, as a result, we have a culture of gotcha moments, sound bites, zingers, and echo chambers. I think it's important to take a step back and ask the question, do you want to be right, or do you want to be correct? Because that's really the distinction, isn't it? Being right versus being correct. Being right feels good. It's ego-affirming. It gives you that dopamine hit, that sense of triumph. You imagine the crowd cheering in your head as you deliver the final word like a courtroom drama. But being correct? That's quieter. It's more humble. It doesn't always feel good. In fact, sometimes it hurts. Because being correct sometimes means admitting that you were previously wrong. And being wrong is a terrifying thing for most people, not because the truth is scary in of itself, but because of what it means to admit that you, the person who lives inside your own skull and mind and thinks all the time, might have missed something. That feels like vulnerability, like weakness. But it's not. It's strength, because there's nothing more powerful than someone who can look at a belief they've held for years and say, you know what, I think I was off. Let me readjust. But most people don't want to do that. They want to be correct. They want to feel right. And they want other people to know, oh, hey, look at him or her. They're right. And so that brings us to the core of the problem that you've no doubt witnessed in society. The core truth about the human mind. It is, unfortunately, often more interested in protecting what it believes than in updating those beliefs. Why? Because beliefs become identity. If I tell you your math is wrong, you might be annoyed. But if I tell you that your worldview is flawed, suddenly I'm not criticizing your logic, I'm threatening yourself. So the walls go up. The goal stops being understanding the other person and starts being defending. This is why we've lost the art of discussion. Not argument, discussion. We've turned conversations into battles. Listening isn't about learning anymore. It's just reloading. People aren't trying to expand their minds. They're trying to hold the line, as if giving up ground in a conversation is some form of defeat rather than a necessary step toward growth. But disagreement doesn't have to be negative. It shouldn't be negative. In fact, disagreement is essential to human communication. That's how ideas evolve. That's how we refine what we think. That's how we challenge assumptions and discover our blind spots. Iron sharpens iron, not iron trying to shatter iron. There's something beautiful about being able to say, I don't see it that way, but I see why you do. That's not a weakness. That's maturity. That's the kind of foundation real progress is built on, not just in society, but in friendships, relationships, and even internal dialogue. Because if you can't disagree respectfully with others, you probably can't do it with yourself either. And let me tell you, the day you learn how to disagree with yourself is the day your whole life opens up. Because that's what growth is. It's self-disagreement followed by adaptation. It's not a betrayal of who you are, it's the evolution of it. And maybe that's where we should circle back to communication, because the real beauty of it isn't just that we can say rock or water or even understand, it's that we can build bridges from my island to yours. It's that I can throw my thoughts across the gap between us and hope you catch them, hold them, and turn them around in your hands and say, yeah, I see it now. Thoughts are not something to weaponize, they're something to treasure. And maybe, just maybe, if we learn to love truth more than we love being right, the world would start making a little more sense again.